Good evening. This is Flash News. I'm Karolina Pajączkowska, and we are giving you the newest events from all around the globe with Polish perspective. We start with the European Union lawyers that heavily criticize the conditionality mechanism. Meantime, in Poland, members of the Law and Justice Council referred to the expertise of the Council of the European Union. It states that the resolution making the distribution of funds conditional bypasses EU law, actually.
The Polish government has been talking about this for a long time, and it turns out that EU lawyers did so too. The Council of the European Union's expertise contains serious objections about the Berlin-imposed regulation that makes payment from the EU budget dependent on political and ideological criteria. It is simply devastating for this regulation. Lawyers said openly that this regulation is contradictory to Article 7. Poland and Hungary are against the mechanism. Negotiations of EU leaders on the budget will start on Thursday.
In Flash News, we look global, but we also look local. The first shopping Sunday in December has come to an end. Shopping spree before Christmas, but still 2 more Sundays before Christmas. During the entire time, police will monitor whatever the sanitary regime is respected or not.
The coronavirus pandemic should not destroy the plans for pre-Christmas shopping. The first of 3 shopping Sundays before Christmas is behind us. But what is most important, shopping must remain safe. Today I am surprised because there aren't many people, which makes me actually happy because I have just won the battle against the disease. Nationwide, the police is controlling whether sanitary rules are being respected in stores. As part of sanitary controls, we pay attention to maintaining social distance between people as well as covering the nose and mouth by customers and salespersons alike. More than 9,000 new cases of coronavirus infections were confirmed last day. There are 19,000 COVID-19 patients in hospital, 1,900 of which require the support of a ventilator.
According to the World Health Organization, we are approaching the end of the coronavirus pandemic, but the presence of vaccines cannot weaken our vigilance, especially during the holiday season. Besides, the vaccine must not only be effective and safe, but also available to the entire population. Let's look now around the globe for the newest data on COVID-19. It's time for Coronavirus Daily Report.
In the United States, the number of infections exceeds 200,000 every day, and scientists from the University of Washington predict that the number of coronavirus deaths by April will exceed 500,000. The second largest country in the world in terms of number of deaths is Brazil. So far, more than 175,000 people have died there of COVID-19. The authorities have to increase the number of beds in hospitals. Our knowledge on saving patients is increasing. Portugal has extended the state of emergency until the 7th of January, but for the Christmas period, the authorities want to ease the restrictions. At the same time, they remind that this year's Christmas is different from the previous ones and caution is important. Let us share our feelings, friendship, fraternity, but not the virus. It cannot be our Christmas gift. In the UK, which was the first to allow the use of the vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip are to be vaccinated in the coming weeks. According to the British media, it was not only the age of the royal couple that determined to vaccinate the 94-year-old monarch and her 99-year-old husband. The Queen wants to encourage as many British people as possible to be vaccinated.
Eastern Europe now. Thousands of demonstrators march in the Belarus capital Minsk and elsewhere on Sunday as weekly protests demanding the resignation of President Alexander Lukashenko continues. Meantime, police Amman detained more than 300 people only today.
Today is a beautiful day when we again see the unification of Belarus people. Nobody is scared, everybody goes out to the streets, because it's everybody's deal for now. We just went out for a walk, just like every Sunday, we're going out for a walk. Belarus has been rocked by mass protests since an August 9 presidential election, which Lukashenko said he won. His opponents claim the vote was rigged and want him to quit. Most protesters marched in remote residential areas of the capital, clapping hands and shouting "Long live Belarus" and waving white flags with a red stripe in the middle, a symbol of the opposition.
Well, yesterday I wished you a lot of snowfall in this season, but now we move to Italy, which was totally surprised by the snow. Actually, due to a record snowfall, it it is impossible to reach the crossing point between Italy and Austria. Very serious topic. Many alpine location is cut off from the world.
1.5 meters of dense, heavy snow fell in the Dolomites. Forecasts say that today it will be similar. The highest degree of avalanche alert has been announced. There are many impassable roads, including a section of a freeway leading to the Brenner crossing. In the mountains, trees fall under the weight of snow, destroying electric power lines. For this reason, trains do not operate there. In many mountain resorts, there is no electricity whatsoever. In Santa Caterina, the planned Alpine Ski World Cup competition was cancelled.
This is Flash News, and still more to come. We move to Japanese space probe carrying the first extensive samples of an asteroid has completed its 6-year mission, landing safely in the remote Australian outback. Scientists say the newly obtained data could provide clues to the origin of the solar system and life on our planet.
A helicopter flew the capsule retrieved from the unmanned aircraft from the landing site in Australia's desert to a domestic research facility of the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency. Gases trapped in the rock samples could reveal more about conditions prevailing about 4.6 billion years ago. One fundamental question the scientists hope to answer is where molecules like water come from. And speaking of recoveries, a group of environmental defenders saved 8 giraffes from a flooded island in western Kenya. Giraffes were brought to the island 10 years ago. Unfortunately, the unexpected rise of the water level turned the peninsula where the animals lived into an island. This is why the giraffes had to be brought to a new home so that they can enjoy the open spaces. A specially prepared bark was used to transport the animals. An elderly care home in France has introduced a unique measure to allow for human contact. The hug bubble allows care home residents isolated from the outside world to avoid catching the virus to hold hands and embrace their visiting relatives, because at all times they are separated by a hermetically sealed plastic film. Before, residents would only see their relatives through a window or through a camera, and they were really missing having real contact. The Holy See stated that a confession via smartphone is not valid. It was emphasized that despite many changes forced by the pandemic, a priest cannot hear confessions of worshippers over the phone. However, it is possible to grant collective absolution, for example, at the entrance to the ward in the hospital. As the head of the Apostolic Penitentiary argues, there is no real presence of the penitentiaries and no transmission of the word of absolution. There are only electric vibrations that reproduce human words.
December the 6th is the day when children wake up and eagerly dash to their holiday stockings or even their shoes to see what treats St. Nicholas dropped into them. Many parts of Europe, but also some American communities, observe St. Nicholas Day.
I have some wonderful news to tell. Christmas is coming, so stay safe, be good, and have a very, very happy Christmas.
And if it were not for the short "stay safe, be good," one could think that this year's Christmas will be just as every year. However, one instantly notices that it is surprisingly calm in Santa's village. Normally at this time of the year there are hundreds of tourists roaming around in the village. This year it will be a maximum of 30 tourists, and first and foremost from Finland. One can hardly see foreign tourists. Santa Claus himself is still working hard and does not envisage a lockdown.
And we wish you a lot of gifts under the Christmas tree. That's everything in Flash News. Thank you very much for joining us. And in the name of Don Arlett, I invite you for tomorrow's Flash News. Goodbye.